about a week now, we've known that the Sucker Punch co-founder was leaving the studio, and a lot of people have speculated it's because Ghost of Yotei was a failure, because it did not hit their internal goals, and we know that Sony right now is even forcing Naughty Dog to crunch to get demos done internally. But judging by the statements that he's made about the situation, it doesn't look like he left simply because he wanted to. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, we do not know if Ghost of Yotei was a massive success or a massive failure. It seems that it hit at least one of their goals, which was making the budget back, but after that, we have no idea what they wanted. Ghost of Tsushima did phenomenal for them. It exceeded expectations, and so I'm sure that their goals for Yotei were even higher, but judging by the backlash, judging by how the sales have seemingly dropped off of a cliff and there is no one talking about this game anymore and it sort of came and went, it doesn't seem like this has done super well for them. But either way, the statements that he's making about the situation doesn't seem like he simply is moving to greener pastures. He's got nothing lined up. It's not like he is retiring. He's not older. It's not like he is leaving the industry. It seems that he's looking for another job within it, and this really just points to Yotei not being as successful as Sony wanted, and so they pushed him out. Now, we have seen the media basically saying that, oh, this is perfectly fine. If you're a Sucker Punch fan, it's nothing to worry about. But as soon as co-founders leave, that's it. Studios generally go to shit. Look at what happened with Rocksteady. For example, co-founders left. They didn't agree with KTJL's direction, and they went to go work at Camouflage, who made Arkham Shadows, a VR game, which is rated an 8.5 to a 9 with gamers, and Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League lost over $250 million for Warner Brothers Gaming. You want to keep these people around as long as possible, and he's basically saying that he doesn't know what's next. He doesn't know what his plans are, which doesn't scream that there was a reason for this happening, at least on his part. This is his LinkedIn post. It says, so what do you think I should do next? That's the big question, because after 28 absolutely life-changing years at the helm of Sucker Punch, I've decided it's time to shake up the snow globe. I leave Sucker Punch in capable hands of the strongest leadership team we've ever had. Adrian and Jason will do an amazing job as studio heads, and the rest of the directors, Nate, Joanna, Billy, Gail, Parker, Sonia, Rob, etc., they are all so capable and so ready for new challenges that I have nothing but confidence the studio will continue to flourish. And me, I don't really know what's next. I'm going to stay at SP through April to assist with transition, then take some time with Krista to visit friends and places we've always wanted to go. Meanwhile, I'm trying to sort out which opportunities I want to explore next. Some industry, some tech, some entertainment, and some advocacy/politics stuff, all part of the space I'm thinking hard about. Happy to discuss if you're curious. This to me does not scream it was planned, like, oh hey, after Yotei is out, I am looking to transition out of leadership. I'm looking to get out of Sucker Punch. It seems like it was a very quick decision, because when you have been at a job for this long, you don't just up and leave. That's just not what happens. And if your game was as successful as the media touted, as successful as people have claimed, why would you want to leave? You don't just leave after a game releases that is a critical success and it is acclaimed and it's doing so well and you plan to do DLC and a follow-up. That just doesn't happen. This is very suspicious. And if this was the only major shakeup happening at Sony, I think I would feel a little bit differently about it, but they are going through some major changes right now. The other situation I've talked about at length is Naughty Dog. They are crunching to get done the internal demo of Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet, because apparently they have missed multiple internal deadlines and Sony is sick and tired of waiting. Then you add all of that on on top of the pile that was the trash fire of Concord, and it seems that Sony is making some major changes, and maybe that they decided, you know what? Sucker Punch has done good over the years, but they can do better. Ghost of Yotei shouldn't have been this controversial. It isn't meeting our internal goals, and we have to make a major change now. So according to Jason Schreier, Naughty Dog has ordered mandatory overtime at the studio in order for developers and staff to wrap up work on an internal demo. In fact, the studio crunch has been in effect for about 7 weeks at this point, a worrying amount of time for a game still early on in development. Schreier revealed that Intergalactic had missed a number of deadlines already, so in an effort to increase production, employees were asked to work an extra 8 hours or more per week and log the time in an internal spreadsheet. And Naughty Dog didn't respond. Sony didn't respond because we already know that this is the case. Naughty Dog has had a pretty bad crunch culture for years now. It is definitely part of their kind of studio identity. And if they are, yes, missing multiple internal deadlines, of course Sony is going to put their foot down. And I just have a sneaking suspicion that it is the same case with Ghost of Yotei. They haven't released any updated numbers. The only ones we have heard are rumors. Take them, of course, with a hefty grain of salt. But at the beginning of December, we heard that it had apparently sold over 4 million units, but it was underselling Tsushima by about 20%. And when you pair that with the news that PS5 copies of Ghost of Yotei had already been reduced 2 weeks after release in certain places across the world, none of this bodes very well for the future of Sucker Punch, for Ghost of Yotei, and it does seem that they are having a lot of problems at this point in time. Now, do I feel bad? Not necessarily. A lot of the problems and controversy surrounding this game did stem from some of the developers and statements they made about Charlie Kirk, and it's really no shocker to see this happening either, because we are talking about activists, and this is what you get when you hire people based on their politics, based on their race, their gender, their religion, their beliefs, and not based on merit. You get people who are unqualified, who cannot keep up with the pace of work. That's why studios like Naughty Dog are going through such bad crunch right now. This is why you end up having so many people with such big and bold opinions that they're not afraid to voice on social media, because they believe that they cannot be fired, they believe they cannot be punished. And if you just had hired veterans in this industry, if you had hired people who actually proved that they could do the job and that they were talented, most of these situations wouldn't be happening. We would have gotten a Ghost of Tsushima 2, we would have gotten a follow-up with Jin Sakai, or even Atsu without a Antifa activist at the helm and playing the lead character, and we wouldn't have seen so many controversial takes from these developers. Things would have been going very well, but this is what happens when you hire activists, and really, I can't say I feel all that bad. So I definitely will be keeping a close eye on what is happening at Sony right now. It seems that they are going through a lot of big changes, but yes, this Ghost of Yotei studio head is leaving. It doesn't seem like this was really his decision or something that was planned out for a very long time, and I do believe it is because Ghost of Yotei did not hit their internal goals, and Sony said enough is enough. We need games to be less controversial, to make more money, and in order to do that, we need to shake up leadership. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this important and informative, make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.